Hey everyone, I want to just first of all say thank you for popping on this video to learn a little bit more about how you can support your emotions for the upcoming holiday season. Because as we know, the holiday season is beautiful, but it also can be stressful and it can take a toll on us. In fact, this morning when I was getting ready and just thinking about class today, I was also thinking about the other two classes in this series on basically targeted support for you for the upcoming holiday season. Pretty straightforward. This week it's on emotions. Next week it's on gut health, and the week after that is on skincare. And because all it like the stress, let's face it, the stress of our lives, where do they show up? They show up in too many places, but they show up in our emotions. They show up in our gut. Let's face it, ulcers, hello. And they also show up on our skin. And I mean that like if we're stressed, we're not getting enough sleep, we're seeing it on our, I say our skin, but like on our face, like under our eyes, or I know when I was younger, thankfully I don't have this problem now, but like in my 20s and 30s, stress is, it showed up in zits and pimples on my face. It just did. And one of my friends who's on the class with me, she's nodding her head. She's like, yeah, for her too. And I'm sure it's for a lot of us. And especially for us women around our time of the month, that is also when the emotions and the gut and the skin shows just like the toll that that time of the month can take. So that's another whole story for another day. I brought that up for somebody needs to hear that. So if you have questions on that, reach out to me. But in the meantime, I want to talk about targeted support for the upcoming holiday season. And like I said, today we're going to talk about emotions. Next week's on gut health, and then the week following is on skincare. And so let's go ahead and get started. One other thing I was thinking about this morning, and I thought these are areas, honestly, when I came up with this 3-week series, I was just thinking about like what help I need. And I thought, well, I can't be alone in this, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Where does stress show up? Or how does it affect us? But this morning I was thinking, I think sometimes we focus on, like, we want our skin to look good. We want, let's face it, we want to put our best face forward. And so we focus on putting makeup on, or we focus on skincare, which all of that is important. The kind of makeup you put on your skin is important, as is the skincare that you use. But if you also want your skin to look good, I'm not a medical doctor, so I cannot treat, diagnose, or cure. I'm just a woman who had super bad pimples and acne in her teens and 20s. Like most women who have oily skin, it gets worse around your period. So I'm an expert on that, if you will. But it is also paying attention to what we're putting in our body. So what goes in our gut and how well our gut is working. And when I say gut, I mean our stomach and our digestive system. And then also our emotions. And so, yeah, skincare is important. Makeup's wonderful. I put my makeup on today for the class. I don't put makeup on every day, but I put makeup on today for the class. So makeup's great, but it's like, let's get to the root of it as well. Let's look at, next week we'll dive into our gut, and then today we're talking about emotions. Okay, so as I was reviewing my notes for today, I thought, man, even when we're talking about emotional support, I mean, that has a huge spectrum in and of itself. I was in therapy over the summer, late spring, early summer, because October of 2020, I fell while doing a daily walk and I fractured my skull and had a traumatic brain injury. And so just realizing in the spring that there obviously was a traumatic event and I was still having some trauma going on with my feelings, I went into therapy. And that was very helpful because, and I'm going to incorporate some of the things that I learned in therapy with oils. So, but I wanted also point out, as I was looking at this, I thought November 13th is not the best time to really dig into like deep emotional work while we're getting ready to go into the holiday season. So I'm going to I want to talk about how we can support our emotions over the next couple months. And it's going to be real because I've experienced it. And I'm going to dive deep and hopefully be able to share some really vulnerable things as a way of putting a underline for you guys, like in my sincerity to wanting to feel and get better, oils have played a huge role in that for me. So then I thought, you know what, maybe come beginning of the year, we can dive a little deeper and we can really start talking about using emotions. This book here, which has been a book that I've loved, it's Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. Maybe that's something we can dive into next year. And I mean, like in January, so we're talking, 3 or 4 months. But today I want to really just highlight, like, how can we support, basically, how can you support yourself over the next couple months? Now, I've already mentioned something about energy. Let's face it, when we are stressful, our energy levels are affected. And when our energy levels are affected, that affects our emotions. I'm not telling you all anything you don't know. It's just probably a reminder because, with everything going on in the world, everything going on in this country, and then on top of that, everything going on maybe at your job, in your home, with your family, and then heading into the next couple months, I mean, this is, in my opinion, it really is the most beautiful time of the year, and yet it can be really stressful for a variety of reasons. And so I'm also going to talk about a product that we have that is geared for overall support, and that will help you with your energy level, because that is part of your emotions. And it's packed with vegetables and fruits. And you know what? I love fruits and vegetables in the summer. I'm really good about it. Come winter, I'm like, give me those hearty stews with some homemade bread. So that's why I'm like, oh, I really need to be, you're probably like, you may not be like this. You may live in Florida and be like, we have great fruits and veggies year round, but where I'm from, I'm in the Midwest, not so much. Anyway, I digress. So I want to talk to you about a couple different protocols that you can use with essential oils. And you're like, okay, well, what's the big deal about essential oils? Well, just real quick, I want to point out that not all essential oils are created the same. You may be using essential oils that you've gotten at the grocery store or wherever, at the health food store. And that's fine. That's great. They probably tell you that you can ingest them. And the reason being is probably the way that they are either grown or distilled, they use chemicals. So of course, you do not want to ingest more chemicals. In fact, you don't even want to be breathing those in. So also just be mindful of that. You may be thinking, well, gosh, Amy, peppermint from the store cost me $5, but peppermint from Young Living is $20. I'm like, well, fair enough. It's actually not $20. It's a little bit more than that. I don't remember prices. It may be up $25, but you hear my heart. I'll say 25. This way, if it's less, then I'm good. But I'm like, are you really comparing apples to apples? Because we're not using chemicals during the process. We're not using chemicals to distill, to get more oils pulled from the peppermint leaves. And the other oil company, they may be doing that. So you're not getting a true peppermint oil, but the only thing in our peppermint bottle of oil is peppermint oil. That's it. There's no chemicals. And so also just be mindful of that when you're thinking, man, I'm going to get rid of these, toxic, products, and I'm going to start using essential oils. You may be just replacing a toxin for a toxin, which when we overwhelm our body with toxins, we have a bioaccumulation, and that is when problems start from. Well, this isn't what this class is about, but I just wanted to point out that as your body is overladen with toxins, it affects how your body works. And let's face it, when you wake up in the morning, you're like, you're pain free. Wow, this is amazing. I feel great. I'm pain free. You're in a great mood. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I didn't sleep right. My back and my neck. Let's face it, you're not as in good of a mood, especially as we get older. You know, when we're younger, we think we can bounce back. And we do, but the older you get, trust me, you don't bounce back quite as much, which is another reason why an all-natural lifestyle will really benefit you. So just realize that all essential oils aren't created the same. So the oils I'm going to be talking about today and how you can be using them, they are all Young Living oils, and you can diffuse them, you can apply them topically, and you can ingest them. And we do pre-label the oils that are ones that you can ingest, like peppermint is one you can ingest. So we do have a label that will say, hey, you can ingest this. There are some tree oils like maybe Idaho balsam fir that, you know, would you need to ingest that? Well, no. And so we don't pre-label it as one you can ingest. I just have to put that little disclaimer out there because that's important information. All right, so I'm the first protocol I want to talk to you about is just with 3 oils, and it's actually really near and dear to my heart because it's one that these are 3 of my favorite oils, and I use them every day. And the reason I started using them is I needed to. Where did I put my little piece of paper? There it is. I needed to start getting out of a thought rut. That's what happens with our thoughts. One of the things I learned in therapy, which is now I'm going to start incorporate this into the oily protocol, is, and you're, again, this may be new to you, or it may be like, oh, all those pieces of the puzzle finally click, or it could be something that, you know, you either knew or you haven't known, or it's just starting to click for you. Okay, so thoughts are linked to emotions or feelings, which create behavior, which then get the results that we want or don't want, depending on the thought or the emotion. And so we think, okay, well, we want different results, change the behavior. Well, that's true, that can work, but it's like if we really want some long-term sustainable results that for change, it's not just changing the behavior, it's going back to the emotions and going back to the thoughts. So it's like digging. That's what I'm saying. We don't want to, I'm not saying we need to do that right now before going into the holiday season, but I want it just to paint that picture for you guys. So the 3 oils that I use every day for emotional support is clarity, valor, and joy. These are actually blends, so they are a combination of other oils. And I do put a roller on top on them because I like to use them for easy application. You can get these roller tops from Young Living, so I think they're really easy because this way, when I roll the oil on, I'm not getting it on my hand because I will inevitably rub my eye. Well, I won't now because I have mascara on, but I can't tell you how many times I've done that with peppermint. And it's like, zing. But no worries. Anytime you get an oil in your eye, just flush it with a carrier oil like olive oil. Don't use water because it'll just make it worse. Use like an olive oil or carrier oil. Okay, so these 3 oils, and I do have, I will make sure I add links to the video about this particular bundle, so how you can get these oils, as well as the protocol that I've attached. Now, I do want to point out that the protocol that I've included is pretty straightforward. I've done it with another friend. It's talking about when to use clarity, when to use valor, when to use joy, how to use it, and doing it for 30 days and journaling and seeing how you're doing every day. I was doing that with a friend earlier this summer. I then took it to the next level, and I used this book that I mentioned about, you know, you releasing emotions or releasing emotional patterns with essential oils. And I needed to dig deep because, you know, I mentioned that I have been, had some trauma from my TBI, my traumatic brain injury. And it's been a very stressful year emotionally for me. And so I have been, no one wants to talk about this on social media. I think we want to talk about it like once someone's healed. and I feel like I am healing. And so I'm in a place where I can share this, but I have been struggling with depression, and that has also affected some clarity, clear thinking, and it has obviously just affected my outlook. And so that's the reason why I started using these 3 oils. I am using clarity, and when I'm applying clarity, I'm applying it here on my temples, and I am saying, I have clarity of thought and I am focused. And I definitely apply this during my work hours. The reason I apply it on my temples, for me personally, is I like the fact that I feel like it's getting into my brain. And when I talk about focus, it is my eyes. I am focusing. I am using Valor. Valor is just how it sounds. It is geared for empowerment, to evoke feelings of empowerment and strength. Hello, Valor. Plus, one of the oils in Valor is Northern Lights Black Spruce. Hello, the black spruce grown in the Northern Lights, like in Arctic temperatures. And I just think about how deep their roots are and how grounded those trees are. I'm like, and that strength from that tree is in this bottle. And so I started using Valor because this is what I say when I apply Valor. I beat depression through action, and I apply Valor at the base of my neck. And so this is just me being really raw and vulnerable about how the fact that I've been struggling with depression. I don't think I've even told my sisters. That's tells you the indication on that. So, but it's hit me in the last couple of days. I'm like, it's in our vulnerability that we are stronger. And it's in our vulnerability that allows other people to be vulnerable. And that is where healing happens. So that's like my big disclaimer. And then joy, because hello, joy. It's just this joyful smell. But joy, when I apply this, I am a woman of faith. And so I'm actually applying this. I'm going to do it with my turtleneck on. I'm applying it around my heart area. And I'm saying that I trust my vision. And then I also pray to Jesus, saying, thank you, Jesus, for all that you do. And so now that is my personal protocol. But I am giving you a 30-day protocol sheet, obviously as guidelines. If you, with affirmations that you can use, very similar to what I've used in my personal one, you can obviously tailor that to your needs. And then you know what? By week 2, you may be even having different affirmations. But I just wanted to point that out. I had, when I was thinking about this class, I had zero. I wasn't going to share that personal aspect, but I thought, you know what? I need to start doing that. But the protocol sheet is, the protocol guide is available to you as well, because it's like, okay, great. You get these oils and you're like, well, how do you use them? And so that's, starting to get these oils on your body, in your diffuser. That is when you're going to start feeling supported emotionally. And there was something I was going to say and then went out of my head. So there you go. The other protocol I want to mention is it's a combination of 6 oils. And I've done this protocol for 30 days with a friend. We did it. Actually, I think we did it for 60 days. We were like, we loved it so much. We did it for 60 days. And I took notes on this and everything. But it's called our feelings kit. Could we be any more like transparent with what, like how to use these oils? But it's called the feelings kit. And actually it's a protocol. I don't have this linked anywhere, but if you get the feelings kit, let me know and I will for sure get you this protocol. It's a 1-page protocol, and it's actually drafted by Gary Young, who is the founder of Young Living. And he gave this feelings protocol back in September of 2008 at the first Young Living European Convention in Vienna, Austria. I've been to Vienna, Austria, so that really sung to my heart. But it is a 30-day protocol to the feelings kit. The oils in the feeling kit, Valor, because hello, Valor is just an oil I use every day for all the things. And then Harmony, which Obviously, this oil is to promote harmony, which, hello, holiday season, great one to diffuse, get everybody feeling harmonious. I'm not even joking. I'm saying that with a lightness in my voice, but seriously, it's an amazing oil. This oil, I probably just need to have this as an IV, right? And we all do. Forgiveness. I'm like, could you just hook this up with the forgiveness? Because it's just hard. You don't realize like how much unforgiveness you hold. And then how we're told that, you know what, in forgiveness, there is freedom. And that's very powerful. So that's also part of the protocol. For feelings, hello. Anyway, I had a thought. I will share it later. Release. The first time I actually started using the release oil was right after my mom passed away back in 2015. And I talked to a couple friends about like, how can I support I'm like, I need some grief support. And I started inhaling release on a regular basis. And it for sure, and I was using other oils, Valor being one of them, just to help me support me with grief. If you do have some specific grief support, reach out to me and I will for sure address that, because I have definitely used oils for grief support. But I'm also using a release right now in another protocol, because I think release is beautiful. And just think about it, there's such a link between releasing and forgiving, right? We need to release the unforgiveness. We need to know how to forgive so we can release. So to me, there's a definite link. Present time helps us keep in the present time. And then the last oil in the feelings kit is inner child. This one is just delightful. It's springtime. So, I mean, you're like, well, I like to smell holiday oils like, peppermint and, pumpkins and, spice and all the things. I hear you. But you know what? Sometimes in the midst of like holidayness, Christmas holidayness, being able to smell summertime or beach, whatever it takes, like that's my happy place. Going to the beach is my happy place. Imagining my toes in the sand, happy place. But anyway, the feelings kit is another very, very powerful way to help support you emotionally. And like I said, I can get you the feelings protocol. I meant to pop that up on my website. I got distracted this week trying to get other things done for my team that I did not get that up there. So, but it is available to you. So those are the two protocols that I wanted to talk about regarding emotional support. And what it comes down to truly is, and you're like, okay, so what's the big deal with oils? I should have mentioned this at the very beginning. What's the big deal about oils? The limbic part of your brain is the seat of our emotions. And as I understand, the only way to reach the limbic part of our brain is through smell. So getting into where our emotions are, or where our feelings are, smell is is the way to go. And there are oils that, the Lord made our body, and the Lord made these oils, and he's made them to work together. And there are oils that are high in certain qualities that can reach into our limbic system and unlock that DNA and start think of it this way. We get stuck in a thought, like, okay, when I'm going to say this and I'm frustrated that I'm going to say it, but it's not me. But I used to always say, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. And I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but whatever that thought is, it could be a more treacherous thought than that. But we get stuck. That becomes a road thought in our mind, a thought road in our brain. It's like, and we can get stuck there. And it's hard to get out of that rut. One of the things that the oils will help us do is release that bondage. That's a big word. Sorry, I don't know why that's popped in my brain, but that bondage we have to that road thought. It helps us start thinking new thoughts. And that's like when I was saying, when I'm using these 3 oils and I'm saying those 3 things, because I am battling depression, and I'm breathing in Valor. It's getting up into my limbic part of my brain, and I am putting it on, and I am saying, you know what am I saying? I beat depression through action. Now, I am also, I need to put this disclaimer. If you are currently seeing a therapist or if you're currently on medication, I am not judging that, and I'm not telling you to stop doing that. I am simply mentioning how you can use oils as part of your affirmation and part of your emotional journey. I have had friends who, and I actually did this with my therapist. I told her I'm using oils for these, affirmation statements we were working through. I've had friends who have used oils while they are taking medication. They've worked with their therapist to wean off medication and have used oils instead of, and then they've replaced those with oils. Now, that being said, that's all done with a medical doctor. So please hear me. I am not saying to stop doing what you're doing without you contacting your doctor or your therapist. I am just telling you ways that have helped me on this journey, and wanting to do that with products that work with my body as opposed to working against my body. I remember years ago, we're talking probably 2005, 2006, I was listening to a local country station I used to listen to when I got ready for corporate, every morning and put my radio station on. I was getting ready for corporate. And this radio station, they were advertising, I don't remember the name of the drug, thankfully, but it was a medication that was geared to help people with sleep who do shift work, meaning if they work second or third shift. So they're not working what our body is, what time they're working at times our bodies would normally be sleeping, right? So that it's to help your body. And I was like, that was nice. And then they listed all of the side effects from this medication. I laugh sometimes inappropriately. It's a release. Do you know that the other side of anger is laughter? So sometimes when I laugh, it's really an expression of energy. And it's erring on the side of positive as opposed to anger. Anyway, another story for another day. But they listed the symptoms, and they were horrible. And one of them was insomnia. I was like, this medication is to help people sleep and feel rested, and one of the side effects is insomnia? So much so that it was actually listed in the, verbally listed. And so, again, I'm not knocking medication by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying, there may be other ways. And going about helping your body, supporting your body, and doing so all naturally, that has its place. And then be able to use products that don't have those adverse side effects, is a huge blessing. I mentioned at the very beginning that I was going to talk about another non-oily, although it is oil infused, supplement, and that is Ningxia Red. Ningxia Red is that drink I was mentioning. It's packed with superfruits and super vegetables, and it's because it is all this. So basically, an energy drink in a very quick kind of way, but it's also high in antioxidants. And if you were like I was like, what's an antioxidant? Well, go look up free radicals, and you'll realize that you need lots of antioxidants in your body to get rid of the free radicals, because the free radicals in your body, they do horrible things. And so Ningxia Red is going to be great for overall support for you. That will also help out with energy, because let's face it, and especially when December is awesome and beautiful, but it's like all of a sudden your to-do lists become longer, and then it's like all of a sudden your sleep times decrease. And so being able to use a power-packed fruit and veggie drink that tastes wonderful is just something that's actually going to be really helpful for you. And then obviously smelling these oils. We actually have an oil called Energy. That one is a great one to diffuse. I didn't put it on in the bundle. I just remembered that. I did not put it on the bundle list, but it is definitely one to look at. And I've talked about the bundles. So what I have done is I've created a bundle, and I'll put that link up there for you all to shop from. But it is the oils and the products that I'm using to help support my emotions. So it's all of these oils that I've mentioned, plus a few others that I did not mention. and actually I'm going to talk about one right now before I close out this class. But those are all available to you. Obviously, you can get what you need. You for sure, if you have questions, you can for sure reach out to me. But these are all products that I use, which hello is why I am confident in saying, you know what, these are how they're helping me. And you know what, with consistent use, they're gonna help you as well. One other oil I want to mention is this, and this is the last one I'm going to mention before we end the class today. It's gathering, and it's actually part of our gift with purchases this month. So depending on how much you order, you could actually be getting this one for free, along with gratitude for free. And so this, when I've heard of gathering for years, never really paid that close of attention until this summer when I was in an emotions class, and someone was starting to talk about gathering. And they said that years ago, Gary was on some flight, was talking to a couple women, and he's like, okay, because Gary was so focused on wanting to help other people, which is really beautiful. He's like, what do you think is your biggest health problem right now? And these women thought about it and they said, well, actually, we've got just a lot of chaos going on. And it's just kind of like, how do we get through this chaos, and think about that. It's like when there is something that's chaos or stressful, I like how they used chaos instead of stressful, but it's like, it can be chaotic going into a situation. And then that can be stressful. And then therefore that affects our emotion, affects our gut, it affects our skin. But he took that to heart. And over the next couple of years, he came up with this blend gathering with the intent that it will help you cut through the chaos. As soon as I heard that, I was like, I got to order that oil. So it is one that I actually have kind of been bogarting, so I mainly just inhale it. I will diffuse it occasionally, but when I get it, it's the only bottle I have, so I use it. Well, I inhale it I always am inhaling it, but I know that's getting into my body, but this helps cut through the chaos. So this one is definitely, I love the fact that it is a gift with purchase this month, because this one is a definitely an understated oil based on the name, but it's definitely one that will just help us cut through the chaos and just see what is important in our lives. So like I said, I wanted to mention gathering. So as I said, I will make sure there are links to the bundle, and there are links to the protocol, because if you're going to, when you get your clarity, joy, and valor, you're going to want to have a protocol sheet to work from to get you started. And I am here for questions or concerns that you have. Just feel free to reach out to me. And again, thank you for your time today.